People are asking in the chat about the next two games with Arkansas State, with Toledo. What's your best guess on approach in regards to other players we're going to see, how they're going to, again, approach the next 2 weeks?
I think what Ryan Day and even Urban Meyer before that showed was you want to get up by as much as you can in these guarantee games as quickly as you can. If it's 31-0, 38-0 at halftime, whatever it might be, if you can. I mean, obviously this takes into account you're able to make plays and your opponent isn't, which maybe Arkansas State scores 14 points somehow. I don't know. They scored 58 last week against Grambling. Obviously, Grambling must be the bottom of the barrel in FCS right now, I suppose. I don't know. So you want to secure the win as quick and as easily as you possibly can. What we've usually seen is the first team comes back and plays the first possession of the second half, and then they start putting people in the game. They did not put a lot of backups in the game. The offensive line played almost the entire game, except for 3 snaps by Matthew Jones late in the game when he got hurt. The cornerbacks played almost every snap. Tommy Eichenberg played every snap at linebacker. So there were some positions where guys played the entire game or close to it. And I think what you'd like to see this week is a chance to get a lot of the twos some work, maybe even a full quarter of work, to where you can even get a few of the threes in at the very, very, very tip-top end of the game. And to my recollection, I could be wrong, I don't know if any of the true freshmen got to play, maybe on special teams. I didn't seem to notice it. It seemed like a lot of frontline guys were playing on special teams, and that was because they were playing Notre Dame. They were playing a top 5 team, and I think they made the business decision that for this game, it's upperclassmen only. Everyone else just take a seat and watch the older guys win this one, and they weren't going to put a freshman into a situation in a game that person could cost them the chance to win the game. So they went with the reliable hands pretty much across the board. Well, now, all things being equal, 43-point favorite, you ought to be able to get maybe 70 or 75 of the scholarship players into this game if it goes according to plan. Maybe Devin Brown, maybe Kyle McCord gets to play a quarter and Devin Brown gets the final series at quarterback. Something like that would be great. Would be wonderful. So Dallin Hayden at running back, those young wide receivers, all those guys get a chance to play in this game, can only help them going forward.
I would like to see a scenario to where some of the twos get to come in the second quarter, not necessarily for an extended run, but let the twos run the real offense. Have a situation to where Kyle McCord and some of these guys are able to run an attacking offense as opposed to coming in the third and putting it up 6 times and running a ton of student body left and student body right. I think that's where you're going to get more gain than trying to just run out the clock with the twos and the threes. There is the necessity to get their feet wet, and I think that you would see if this game goes according to plan, as Steve said, a lot of twos and threes down the stretch, but I think that it's important for them to get an opportunity to run the Ohio State offense as opposed to the vanilla, let's get the hell out of Dodge offense and get to our post-game pizza and on the bus and home. So, then again, nobody's necessarily, none of us have a crystal ball to be like, well, this is how the game's going to go down. But with it being a 43, 44-point line, I think we all have kind of an idea of what's going to happen. You want to sit there, you want to build on your successes, right some of the wrongs, and not get anybody hurt.
Yeah, in terms of the freshmen, I saw the game notes. Caden Curry played a few snaps on special teams, is what that said. And then also you had Jaden Fielding handling kickoffs, true freshman walk-on kicker. Ohio State has 2 kickers on scholarship and trying to get a third with Parker Lewis, the USC transfer, and still have a true freshman walk on handling kickoffs. But he did well. He was doing just fine and tricking Notre Dame into trying to return kickoffs for some reason, and then Xavier Johnson and Chip Trainum were there to clean it up more often
mistake.
than not. and it was, and it, especially in that end of the stadium where they were the north end a couple of times. That's where things get loud, and so I'm expecting, obviously, like everybody else, many more freshmen, and it's going to lead to a bunch of predictions from all of us, like who's going to be the first freshman to score, who's going to be the first freshman to do this or do that. And this is one of those games where we get some of those answers and some of those predictions, and I'm looking forward to it, maybe seeing some of these receivers. I definitely think we'll see Dallin Hayden out there because you don't want Travion Henderson and Maya Williams playing into the fourth quarter on this one. I'm not sure how far into the third you'll want them playing in this one. So this will be a good game for Dallin Hayden, I'm almost positive.
I think this is the game to get all those guys experience because I think they'll beat Toledo next week. Toledo is one of the favorites in the Mid-American Conference. They beat Long Island, I think, 37-0 in their opening game. Our friend Dave Briggs, 6'7" columnist for the Toledo Blade, had covered that game and was not all that impressed with Toledo with how they played. But again, it was their opener. So, whatever. My guess is that game, although Ohio State's the last time they did play Toledo, I think it was 26-21 in 2011, the Fickle year. That was one of those early season games where he didn't have Heron and Posey and Mike Adams and, that stupid bullshit they had going on that year. But, I digress.
Yes. 27-22, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. They were suspended for stuff that they'd pin a medal on them today for. So. Oh, you got money for that? Great job.
It's a recruiting tool now. There's like a placard in the WAC now for stuff like that.
We were doing NIL before NIL, as our friend Dusty Rhodes would say, was fashionable.